Hello, what's new at MountainOffice? So happy to show you some things that came through in the last two updates. In the areas of the operating logs, we've actually expanded quite a bit. And you can see here in this screen that we give you some statistical information that shows you from a 2-day perspective what's been done or what's left to be done, by different categories being pre-operational, operational, post-operational, weekly work, and monthly work, and any special occurrences. So this gives you a picture of where you stand with the logs as they have progressed over the 2 days. You can look at anything in the dashboard or in any view that you want to see in a filter period. So you can use the current season, the current year, the current month, or you can customize it and set a from to date, which here you can see I've got from the end of March to the end of May. You can establish an operating data counter, and you can look at your value records. And I'm going to scroll through those. We've got them all listed here as per what's in the checklist for this specific lift. And as you go through them, you can see there's quite a few. You can eliminate these, and I'll show you how in a minute. And you also get the ability to print this. So if you have a inspector that wants to take something with him or wants to look at a piece of paper, this can be done, and you can set this up so that it's got a signature space for you to sign at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month. Moving on to and staying within the operating logbook, there's also a new feature which gives you a planning space so that you can pre-establish certain parameters for operating the lift. This can be done from a lift operating perspective as well as a lift maintenance perspective. The first thing is that we provide an order by the operating manager. I know this is something that's not commonly used, but if you wanted to put a message out on an operating logbook, like for lifties, for lift operations, you could say, load with a smile, make sure you're greeting the guest well, that type of thing. Then we can establish the standard operating time, and you can set the time, standard operations from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and this says that there's no planned operating times. I would click on that, and for this date I could set a specific time, or I'd say no operation. So what this does is it allows you to, on specific days, move the time around, and also if you didn't have an operation for whatever reason, you can establish that. And you can plan operating times by, as I said, putting in the date, saving that, and putting in the times and saving that. So that is something that's brand new. You also can set the standard operating drive speed. And this allows lift maintenance to say, okay, we want to run the lift at this speed, and we can save it. You don't need to change that unless you want to change the operating speed, which can also be done in the log itself. But this is in a planning mode where it's okay, the normal runtime for this is X, and you put that in and save it. You then can also include duty planning. So this enables you planning for staffing the positions. So if I go to seasonal planning, I can pick one of these, and I can say that, okay, this is, we're going to run from June 4th to 10/15. This is the number of the first operating day is number 1. So for duty planning, we would set the plan here by clicking on this pencil after clicking on the duty planning. And we can establish who is going to be staffing this lift. And we can add a person, or we can say it's not staffed. Let's say for this position it's not staffed. And for here we're going to say supervisor. We're going to add a person, and we can go right to the database, and we can pick out a person. We're going to say Andrea Kroll is going to be the supervisor. The mechanic, we're going to go and say add a person, and we're going to put in from the database, we're going to put Bill Wheeler in, and then from the bottom terminal, we're going to add a person. We're going to go to the database and so forth. And so doing this as a manager or a supervisor, before everything's put together, you can sort of, before everything is sent out to the field in your daily meeting, you have all of this done, and you're enabled to show that on the log itself, and people can understand, and you can add all these people. So you can set the date for this, and you can change the date, and you can add a new date planning for a different date. So you actually could build out your staffing for a week's time frame. It's a pretty neat tool. I think it has more application for lift operations than anything else. Another neat feature, if we go to the administrative area under Operation Logbook and we go to Checklist, we now can see that we can add we can divide the list between the different stations on a lift. We could do it from bottom station, top station, and mid station if we wanted to. And you can see that I've created the 2 folders here. I really haven't moved these tasks, but each of these tasks could be dropped into the folders just by dragging and dropping like this. And so now if I went to the bottom station, you'd see that the gearbox oil is there. If I go back to unassigned lifts, I could drag and drop the rest of them. And the other thing that I can do is now, for those of you who have other created work orders on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, which are really logs, we can actually import those into the new logbook so you don't have to retype all that information. A big step, and one that will work very well for a lot of people. Another new feature is we've allowed for the SCARIA map to be uploaded into the system. So you just upload an image from your computer and then and link it to your system, so you can drag your systems onto the map and you can load it that way. So you can see where they are, and it sometimes helps to give people a perspective of where things are. Just a small feature, but we thought it was worthy of noting for you. As we jump to MountainOffice, you can see that we've added not addresses, but incidents and accidents and spare parts to the functionality up here. So we're in lift maintenance now, and one thing I wanted to share with everybody that I think we've been criticized for is that from a technician standpoint, they don't want to have to make all the clicks they have to get to where they want to go to. So if I'm a lift maintenance technician and I only work on Lincoln Peak within this resort, I can click on this little menu button here, and I can set this as my entry point. So if I set that as my entry point, when I log in, and that's what I'm logged in when I do it, then when I automatically open up MountainOffice, it's automatically going to take me to Lincoln Peak. And I think this is a big feature. And you can also notice here that we've brought in a lot of the features that we had in the Windows version are now here in the web-based system, which they hadn't been for a while. And so now we can do the following things that are here, listed here, and it becomes much more useful. If we click here and go to our lift scenario, you can see here that, again, we've got addresses, incidents, which are simply what we had before, and you can name a category, you can put the time in, and when it was, you can add data, and whatever you want to as to what the incident was, what happened to the lift, why it happened, blah, blah, blah. And you can save that and off you go. So it's, again, in the same with accidents, it can describe accidents that happen. And again, if I only worked on the gatehouse lift, I could set that as my entry point. And this would be true for some people that just, in the bigger areas that have a separate crew that works on a gondola, those technicians will only want to log into the gondola. Now I've gone deeper into the lift and I'm focused on the gearbox, which is under lift components, drive machinery, gearbox. You can see that the string is always up top here so you know where you're at. And if I click on a box, first if I click on this plus button here, it allows me to create a new schedule without a template or all the templates I've built that are in the system for me. So that's a new feature. And here, if we click on any one of these boxes, it provides us a number of options that what we can now do with this specific schedule or work order. We can copy it, we can cut it, we can delete it, we could print it, we can save it as a template, and we can complete the schedule. So if we wanted to complete the schedule for that, we would just click this box and it would click all the items on it as complete. This is to create something, what we call a schedule package now. Before we were calling it offline sharing. This creates the package to be downloaded for somebody. And if I click this, it's going to tell me what name I want to give it and who do I want to assign it to. So if any of the users would be here, and currently we don't have the user groups in here, but we will in the next upgrade, that the user groups will be listed here. So if you wanted to assign it to lift maintenance, it could be assigned to all the lift maintenance users. So that's a neat feature. And then this feature is something that's a carryover from the previous, is that we can go in and edit the detail records. So if we click on this, it allows us to go in and edit records for all the boxes that we would have checked. And this enables us to do batch processing of schedules where we want to change dates or responsible persons. Those are the two most common uses. So that's pretty much it as to what we've got new in MountainOffice. We've got more coming, and we look forward to anybody that has any questions about MountainOffice. Please give us a call. Thank you very much.